So will the Senate launch their own probes into these air disasters? Republican Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin is with me now. I don't know if you heard the president speaking just moments ago, Senator, but he was talking about how these studies come and go and they get put into the archives and are never heard from again. Is that too cynical a view of a congressional investigation of what's been happening here?
I actually think he's spot on, David. Here's the advantage we have now is we have Sean Duffy, Secretary Duffy, that's going to be leading this investigation. I believe Congress will probably defer to him at this point because we know we can trust this administration. We know we can trust Secretary Duffy, and we'll be briefed on this next week. Once that briefing takes place, he'll tell us what his procedures are, what he's going to be doing moving down the road, and then report back to us. I think it's premature to say that we're going to do our own investigation. Most of the time when we do our own investigation is when the administration isn't forthcoming with their information and we have to do it ourselves. In this case, like I said, fortunately, David, we have an administration we can trust. We have a president we can trust. And unless something comes up to force us to move forward, we'll probably let them move, and then we will take the appropriate channels we need to react, either through legislation, through certain rulemaking, or bringing in the FAA themselves and help them change the procedures.
Of course, that hasn't stopped members from the previous administration chiming in about the president's concerns with DEI programs that may have led to staffing shortages. Pete Buttigieg was the former transportation secretary, chimed in saying the president's remarks were despicable and then said that we didn't lose any air traffic controllers under his watch. Well, the records don't show that. It does seem to be understaffed, and a lot of the understaffing may have to do with the changing of prerogatives for the positions.
Well, David, where the FAA towers get trained is right here inside Oklahoma, in Oklahoma City. That's their training hub. And I will tell you, we were having a hard time filling their classes because of DEI, because of the diversity, equality, and inclusion that they required us to have. You couldn't fill the role, rather than us just simply saying we need the best and brightest individuals, and we're going to hire you specifically on merit. We're going to train you specifically on merit. Instead of these classes being 100% full, we were at 80% or 70%. And it wasn't from the lack of individuals applying for it, except each class had a ratio that they had to have on it. So President Trump is absolutely correct. When you're not hiring people based on merit and expertise, you're hiring them based on diversity, equity, and inclusion, then that has a huge, or equality, that has a huge problem moving forward for us. Yeah. So we have to make sure that we follow exactly what President Trump is doing. And by the way, he's a successful business guy. He didn't get successful by not putting the right people in place. If we get the right people in place, our government will run smoother. And that's what he's saying here. We had to put the right people in place. So Pete Buttigieg carries no credibility. The only reason why he was there was probably because of DEI to begin with. President Trump is putting the right people in place to get us on track.
Senator, I want to switch gears to the nomination process because these are times when you really need a full staff of the executive office and you don't have it yet. We had a couple of security picks. Excuse me. We had Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel speaking before the Senate this week. Different views of who did better than whom. I think Kash Patel fought back harder, and Tulsi Gabbard, there's still some Republicans that have problems with her. But both of those people, Tulsi and Kash, are talking about how we need to reform our intelligence process, our post-9/11 intelligence process, which has become too political. They share that vision. No matter who's in power in our intel community with the Trump administration, is that going to be the number one duty to try to take the politics, because too much of that intel was used to go after political enemies?
Absolutely. Tulsi and Kash are both dear friends of mine. Tulsi, I literally call her my sister. She calls me my brother. Kash is a very dear friend that I have enjoyed getting to know over the recent years. Here's my thing about intelligence is that we aren't getting the information we need in Congress. They have not been honest and forthcoming with us. They play more on politics. There hasn't been a briefing that I've received in the last 4 years that I didn't hear all about on news before we actually was down in a skiff. If we're able to remove the politics and get those individuals in the field mission focused, and put those that are in the office mission focused, and get away from the politics, get away from politicizing it, but simply do their job, then we as Americans will be so much farther ahead. Our allies can depend on us, we can depend on us, and the American people can start trusting the government to what degree they choose to again. Cash and Tulsi will restore that. There is no question our intelligence agency has been politicized by the Obama and the Biden administration, and it's been going on far too long.
Well, it happens from time to time. It happened with the Nixon administration when they politicized the FBI, and certainly it's happened when Donald Trump first came into office for his first term. Senator, great to see you. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.
David, thanks for having me on.